Recently, a sea dragon fossil was found in UK. This fossil is said to be 180 million years old. Is this sea dragon fossil true? Is there any proof in the Bible about sea dragon? Greetings, brothers and sisters. Knowledge is power here. So, UK has recently found a fossil of a sea dragon. They say this sea dragon is a class of ichthyosaur, and researchers say that it exists around 90 to 250 million years ago. Experts say this is a great findings in their entire career. So after this news got blurred out in the social medias, many atheists have gave their comments that this is the another proof earth was not created by God. So what would religions respond to this sea dragon exist on earth? So a believer or an unbeliever comes and asks, hey look man, there's a sea dragon fossil exist. Show the proof in your religious texts. So does Christians have an answer? Yes, Bible talks about a sea dragon existed before the creation of humans. And there is Bible prophecy on this sea dragon in the end times. So today we are going to discuss about this sea dragon, where it is living right now, and future prophecy of the sea dragon, and why media is promoting about the sea dragon. So before I want to start this video, first of all I want to say I don't believe in a sea dragon which existed millions of years ago. These experts say this sea dragon existed 180 million years ago. So I don't believe in these things. But it could have existed 10,000 years ago. So let's read the Bible about the sea dragon. Bible says in Isaiah chapter 27 verses 1, in that day the Lord with his sword and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan the piercing serpent, even Leviathan that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. So Bible talks about a creature which is named Leviathan, and Bible says this Leviathan is a serpent. It looks like a serpent and it is a dragon that is in a sea. This is what Isaiah chapter 27 verses 1 says. Look at the fossil. It looks like a serpent tail and has an appearance as like a dragon. It is almost similar to the one described in the Bible about how Leviathan be. A Leviathan is a serpent and a dragon. It looked like a serpent and a dragon. It almost similar to this fossil. So where is this sea dragon living right now? So before knowing the location of the sea dragon, let's see some of the history of the creation. So without knowing the history of the creation, we can't able to understand the location of the sea dragon. So let's read the Bible in Genesis chapter 1 verses 1 and 2. In the beginning God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of waters. So you can see in this verse there was water which is existed before the creation, before the 6-day creation. So is this water a sign of creation or it is a sign of destruction? So let's see the remaining verses of the chapter. So in verse 6 it says, then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So verse 6 says it's firmament. So what's firmament means? So in verse 8 it says, and God called the firmament heaven. So firmament is called heaven, which the world says now it's space. So when you see firmament, it's space, which is heaven. So let's read verse 7. Thus God made the firmament, and dividing the waters which were under the firmament from the waters and which were above the firmament. And it was so. So God splitted the waters which were below the firmament, which is below the space and above the space. The waters below the space called, and the waters above the space is called. Let's read verse 9 and 10. Genesis chapter 1 verses 9 and 10. Then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gatherings together of waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. So God called the dry land and earth, and the waters in the earth is called seas. So waters below the firmament, which is waters below the space, is called sea. And there is waters above the space, above the firmament. So many people are not convinced that firmament is not space. So let's further read the chapter to find out that firmament is space. This is what Genesis chapter 1 verses 14 to 16 says. Then God said, let there be lights in the firmaments of the heaven. What lights were in the firmaments? In verse 16 it says, then God made two greater lights, the greater light to rule the day, which we know it's the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night, which is moon. So firmament is called space. This is the proof. Firmament is called space, where sun, moon and stars all exist. So is there any Bible proof that waters are above the space? So let's read Revelation chapter 4 verses 6. Before the throne there was a sea of glass. So there is a sea of glass before the throne. The throne of God is above the space, above the firmament. And before the throne is the sea of glass. You can look in the screen. Where is the God's throne, and where is the sea of glass, where is the firmament, which is the space, and where is the earth. And let's read Revelation chapter 21 verses 1. Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, from the first heaven and the first earth was passed away. Also there was no more sea. That's an important thing. There is no more sea. The verse says there is no more sea. Revelation chapters are future event. So when Revelation 21 happens, the new Jerusalem, which is God's throne, will be coming down from heaven to the earth. And when it comes down, there is no more division. Right now there is a sea of glass in God's throne, but when Revelation 21 happens, there is no more division. This sea of glass is removed. That's what Revelation chapter 21 verses 1 says. Also there was no more sea. So you can see in Revelation 4 we saw there is sea of glass, but when Revelation 21 happens, when it will happen? It will happen after 1000 years of God's ruling in the earth, and after judgment day. After all these things have happened, the throne of God will be coming down from the first heaven to the new earth, and the sea of glass is removed, which is mentioned in Revelation chapter 21 verses 1. So Bible proves there is waters above the space and there is waters below the space. We know waters which is below the space are sea, and waters above the space, it's before God's throne. So after knowing this, now we can answer where is Leviathan. So where is this Leviathan, this sea dragon, living right now? So let's read Revelation chapter 12 verses 9. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil, and the Satan who deceived the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So Bible says a dragon, which looked like a serpent, and it's also called as a devil, is being cast down to the earth in the future. So this dragon is cast down to the earth. So where does this dragon is living right now? It is living somewhere above and it is being cast down to the earth. So where it is living right now? It is living in the outer space below the first heaven. And this dragon can access from the sea of glass, just the earth. It can go towards the earth and towards the sea of glass, but it can't enter the God's throne. So Lucifer and his class of angels like Beelzebub, Leviathan were initially living on the earth before the creation of man. But Lucifer and his class rebelled against God, and because of their pride, Lucifer and his angels were cast out from God's throne. And after this, God drained the whole earth with flood. We can read in Genesis chapter 1 verses 1 and 2, Isaiah 12, Ezekiel 28, and many more chapters. I guess this Leviathan is the one who deceived Adam and Eve. So this Leviathan, a sea dragon, was once existed in the earth and now living in the outer space. And it will be cast down to the earth during the tribulation period. So people can see this creature. I'm not sure. We can see this creature. So when it happens, remember, this is not an alien, but this is a devil. This is also mentioned in Revelation chapter 12 verses 7 to 9. So this sea dragon is found in the Bible, and it is going to come in the future. So when it happens, remember, this is not any alien or this is God. This is a devil. Alright, brothers and sisters, take care. See you soon. Jesus Christ is coming soon. Maranatha.